Good morning, good day, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is where you're at. Hi. So, I'm back, like I said I would be, with my handy dandy poetry book. Yes, I am. 4 more days till it's out. And like I promised you guys yesterday, every day until it's out, I will be reading one poem from each chapter from the book. Yesterday we did chapter 5, and today we are doing chapter 4. And chapter 4 is called Reflective. So this chapter is reflective as to either specifically myself or reflective about situations that I've been in. So it's either directly me or directly, it's like either directly or indirectly. So it's either about me or situations that I've been, but I'm like speaking from the other person's point of view. So chapter 4 is all about reflecting in some way, shape, or form, either reflecting about myself or reflecting about a situation that I've been in before. And the poem that I'm going to read to you today from chapter 4, Reflective, is called You Remind Me of Home. I'll explain this poem once I'm done reading it. You remind me of home, the broken hell where I came from, a place I was tolerated, put up with, and put down, where instability and uncertainty resided, a place of constant changing faces, filled with abandonment, abuse, and neglect. You remind me of home, full of screaming, cussing, crying, and beatings, never feeling safe and having no one to lean on. One wrong mistake, one accidental slip-up, could bring a whirlwind of everlasting hell. You remind me of pain. You remind me of trauma. You remind me of fear. I remind you of home, a place you never want to visit again. That's from chapter 4, Reflective, from my poetry book, Late Night Thoughts, Part 1, out in 4 days on November 15th. Pre-order your ebook version only on Amazon and Amazon only. That's the only place you'll be able to get this little beauty. Pre-order ebook version for $4.50. Once the book is officially out in 4 days, the ebook version only will be cranked up till $7.50. Save yourself $3 today, because you have 4 days to pre-order this for $4.50. Once it's officially released, the price is $7.50. So I wrote You Remind Me of Home in reflection of myself. I think a lot of the times when we're dealing with people, especially for me particularly, especially when it comes to like romance and love and things, particularly me personally, I played the victim a lot when it came to love and relationships and men. And I was always like, at the drop of a dime, ready to point the finger at someone and blame it on the dude, blame it on the guy. It's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. And a lot of the times, truth be told, we don't want to hold ourselves accountable. We don't want to acknowledge that sometimes we are part of the problem, or we are the problem in some way, shape, or form. And when I wrote You Remind Me of Home, I was dealing with this guy who has a lot of issues. I won't go too deep into that, but I wrote it because he told me one day that a lot of the things that I would do or the way I would act in certain ways would trigger him, which would make him not want to open up to me and be close to me. And again, admittedly, I used to always be like, oh, it's the guy's fault. All these guys are trash. They're all the same. The whole 9 yards and victim blaming, or excuse me, not victim blaming, but being a victim and this and that. Until that moment, he really showed me that I had issues of my own that I wasn't particularly willing to accept or even acknowledge at that point. And sometimes, like I said, we have to acknowledge that we're part of the problem. We're part of our own issues. We cause our own problems. It's not always everybody or things around us. Sometimes it is our fault of the predicaments we are in. And You Remind Me of Home really opened my eyes to who I was, and that sometimes I can be toxic and unhealthy to others just as people can be toxic and unhealthy to me. So, Chapter 4 is reflective, and I encourage you guys, reflect on yourself. Sometimes it's not always them. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes we are the toxic person. Sometimes we are wrong in a situation. We're not always right. We're not always, the bigger person. Like, we're all human. We all fault. Like, we all have problems and issues, but we can't be so big-headed and prideful and egotistical to think that, like, it never has anything to do with us, because that's a lie. That's a lie. And this book is so special. It really was an eye-opener for me, in many different ways. It brought up things that I either wasn't ready to face or I just didn't want to acknowledge at all. And I know that this can help somebody some way, shape, or form. And it will be out November 15th in 4 days. And I'm excited. And tomorrow, we will go to Chapter 3. I'll give you just the title of Chapter 3, just to pique your interests. Chapter 3 is fun. Okay, real fun. Probably one of my favorites of the book. I really felt I really explored and dove deep with Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is called Sex, Love, and Lust. This is a quote. Each chapter I have a quote from one of the poems in that chapter, somewhere in that chapter. I won't tell you where this quote is from which poem in Chapter 3, because you'll have to read it to figure it out. But it says, "A flame frozen in time right where I left you." So, maybe I'll read which poem that's from tomorrow from Chapter 3. Maybe I won't. I guess you'll have to stick around to find out. But tomorrow we're going to go to Chapter 3, and I'll read a poem from there. And order your pre-books today, tomorrow, the day after. But on Friday, it will go back up to its regular price. Ciao.